Welcome to World School TV with your host, Trina Baldwin. We all share a common passion of travel, and we all share the same desire to educate our kids through the world of travel. And you know what? We all share the same fears as well. So let's blast those fears away and confidently commence or continue our world schooling adventure. Each week we'll be chatting with guests about all things world schooling. We'll be covering travel destinations and events, education options for our kids. We'll talk about what it takes to get going and what it takes to keep going. On World School TV, we're here to support you in every possible way.
Welcome to World School TV. I'm your host, Trina Baldwin. Today's topic is a hot one when it comes to answering the question, how do you afford to travel? There are many different ways that an income can be earned remotely, and today we're going to explore the option of working as a virtual assistant with the very successful Esther Inman. Esther quit her corporate America job 6 years ago when she realised it wasn't suitable for a military wife and mum life. She started working from home as a virtual assistant and couldn't believe this simple, low entry-level virtual career was completely unknown by other military wives, mums or travel lovers. She's been running her six-figure online agency ever since and has her own team of 8 other virtual workers. She also runs online programs helping other women launch their virtual work life too. Esther is a full-time world schooling digital nomad, currently living with her 8-year-old son and veteran husband in Canggu, Bali. Her mission is to help military wives, mums, and those passionate about leaving their current job or situation to pursue a life of travel as a virtual assistant. Well, I know the latter definitely relates to all of us, so let's see what Esther has to share with us.
Okay, so welcome Esther. Thank you very much for joining us here today on World School TV. You've really nailed it in the world of being a virtual assistant, and you're helping so many people do that, and I think it's a great way for us who are wanting to world school, travel the world, be location independent. It's a great way for people to get in. But first, if we could just find out a little bit about yourself and your family and how you actually got started on this journey.
Yeah, so when I first started, it was about 6 years ago, and I'd gone to school to be a teacher. I worked as a teacher for a while, and I taught in international schools around the world. I was always a traveler at heart. And then I got into a corporate job that I actually really enjoyed my job. I was doing software product management and software training. I really enjoyed it. But my husband was active duty military. I had a 2-year-old son, and so I was alone all the time. My husband was gone all the time, and as a military spouse and as a mother in America, maintaining a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job is really, really difficult. I would say it's pretty much impossible. They've made it really, really hard. And so, there was just like something inside of me that kept saying like, this isn't it. This isn't what the American dream is, that you work so hard, you go to college, and you just now sit in this cubicle. Even though like I said, I didn't hate what I did, but I just couldn't see my family. My health was deteriorating. I was exhausted all the time. Like I wasn't happy. I just felt like I was chained and a slave to this corporate job, which is so silly. So when you think about it now, after 6 years of being free, I'm like, why are we doing this to people? So, I quit, and I didn't have a safety net at all. We had a tiny bit of savings only because I cashed in my retirement that I've been putting away since I joined that company, just for a year or two. It wasn't a ton of money. And I pulled my son out of preschool or daycare because honestly, by the time I pulled him out of daycare and even just working, I ended up getting my first online virtual assistant job. And just between pulling him out of daycare and working for a huge pay cut, I ended up actually taking home the same amount of money. So it was insane to me. So, and I was like a fancy job I had. So that kind of set me on this path of being a virtual assistant, and all these military spouses and all these moms had no idea what this was. They were all still trying to sell wraps and sell vitamins, and that's fine, but they thought that was the only way you could work online was in network marketing or multi-level marketing, direct sales. So I started just mentoring some women and teaching them how to be a VA, and recorded it and turned it into a program. And then about 2 years ago, my husband got out of the military and was dealing with some pretty serious mental health issues. And so I actually ended up having to leave him I took my son and left him for a year. He needed some time to go to therapy and deal with a lot of issues that he was having. And it was recommended from doctors. It was no longer safe for me and Ben to still live with him. That's how serious it was. So we left and we started, and I was like, well, you know what? My husband's not active duty anymore. This is my chance to really travel and really be the digital nomad that I've always wanted to be. Because I've been working from home for a couple of years at this point, but I really want to be able to travel. So packed up with kiddo and we moved to be based in Bali, and we went to Singapore, and we've gone to, my brain is dying. Where else have we gone? We've gone all around parts of America. We got to New York and Boston and Maine, and we did the Orlando thing in Florida. And in Asia, I mean, where have we gone besides Singapore? I know we've gone places. Oh, we've gone to other parts in Indonesia. And then on our list this year is Thailand and Japan. So we use it as a base so that we can, it's hard with kids to travel all the time constantly. Some people do it. We are not those people. And so that's our journey. And then the story is my husband actually is doing a lot better, and he's been back here with us in Bali for about a year now too.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that you were able to take your son out of preschool or childcare and you ended up earning the same amount of money as you were in your corporate job. Because it's, you know, a common comment that I hear that virtual assistant work is very low paid because you're competing with people in India and such. So what would you have to say to that?
I would say that it's a myth. Like, if you think about all the different online businesses that there are all around the world, and if you think about the people that are in the first 6 months to 2 years of their business, then yes, they probably are trying to hire pretty cheaply, and they're hiring people in Indonesia, in India, in Africa for, you know, no more than probably $5 per hour. But if you think about people that are higher end than that, that's not the kind of help that they want. They need someone who's a native English speaker to do ghostwriting for them. Like, even just writing alone, or higher end tech work that people in those countries don't know how to do. They don't offer those services. They can't do it. So the starting pay for all of the girls in our program that graduate out of a program that I run to teach people how to be VAs, it's 15 to 20 per hour minimum, and they have tons of work and they're perfectly happy. So I think the lowest is that the girls in Indonesia, because we do have a handful now that are from Indonesia in it, and the lowest that they even take is $10 per hour. And so for some of us that are living in Southeast Asia, $10 per hour is actually okay. So I think that it's something that people come across. I actually have a free class that I talk about this in, because I think people think, oh, I can't do that. It doesn't pay very well. And it's just not true. Think of, there's so many different kind of businesses out there, and they need all different kinds of help from all around the world.
Excellent. So if someone was wanting to become a virtual assistant, but they've never had experience in that, what are the entry-level kinds of roles that they can take on?
Yeah, so the basic things that you can do is you can offer things like typing. You can teach yourself how to use social media schedulers like Buffer or Hootsuite or Planoly. So then a client could give you content, and then you would schedule it out for them. They would tell you, okay, the posts are going out Monday through Friday at these couple of times. Here's the content, you can go and schedule it. If you know about Microsoft Office, and you can do some simple things with Excel spreadsheets and data entry, and then even just sometimes typing up simple documents. That was something that, hey, we only have a printed version of this. I'm gonna take a picture of it. Can you type it up? So that's something that I started doing. If you know how to do PowerPoint slides, and a client can give you a PowerPoint slide template, and then they say, hey, I need you to take this document and turn it into slides, and here's the branded slides. So some simple things like that is probably the entry level before you would need to start getting some more skills. But the great thing about it is that you can invest in getting more skills, and it's not that expensive, not like going to get a college degree, and you can start earning more and start being able to offer more and up your amount of money that you make per hour and up the amount of clients that you can help and that you can work with. So there's, transcription would be the other thing you can start with as well, and that's listening to audio and just typing it up. Again, all that stuff's not that stuff's going to be the 10 to 15 per hour tasks, but that's how you get your foot in the door, and that's how you get started. And then when you're ready to upskill, then you can start doing social media management, you can do ghost blog writing, you can do community management, online program management, answering emails. That's not just basic customer service stuff, a little bit higher end. Then that's when you start to get to the 20 to 30 or even up to 50 per hour.
Excellent. So what sort of companies are looking for virtual assistants? What sort of businesses?
Well, there's a couple different ones. So the first one would be there's actual agencies, and they're a virtual agency, and they offer all different kinds of the services I just said. Some are social media agency. I just placed a VA with one 2 weeks ago, and she just does social media services for big companies. And so she has a team, and she has lots of people that help her run that because she can only take on so many clients herself. And so once she starts to grow, then she hires VAs to help her with that stuff. So working for an agency, you would be considered a subcontractor. It's a great way to get started. It's consistent work. They'll have you usually on a minimum amount of work per month, so you always know you're going to get that work in. Sometimes it'll pay slightly less than if you had your own clients because they have to take a percentage for themselves, right? Because they're running the agency. But that can be a great way to get started. So those are the kinds of companies that frequently hire VAs. The other kinds are any kinds of startups or companies that are, I mean, a startup doesn't have to mean they don't have money. They can be a funded startup, or any company that's building and they are going to primarily be a remote company. I mean, think of all the admin work that goes into starting and running a company. It's a lot, and the CEO doesn't need to be doing it. So they would hire virtual admin roles as well. And then the other one would just be any online business owner or entrepreneur. So you think about public speakers, authors, psychologists, people that are health coaches or business coaches or life coaches. All of those are one-man shows until they kind of start to build out a team. I mean, celebrities, like we've had celebrities that have, you know, they were on, my friend, she works for somebody who was on Top Chef, and now she has her own cookbook, she has her own products, she has her own thing, right? Now, you have to get into the reference of like, oh, all those people aren't doing all of those minute little admin things. They're off doing a book tour. So who is doing that for them? Oh, it's a virtual assistant or a couple of assistants. Yeah. So those are the kinds of people that hire VAs.
Excellent. So look, any job or role that you have has pros and cons. To me, a big pro is that you've got the location independence. What would be some of the cons of a virtual assistant role?
I think the con is that there is a bit of a learning curve. So I think one of the great parts is you usually will get paid ahead of time. So you get prepaid for work. But the con is you have to know that you're allowed to demand that. You have to know how to do a contract. You have to know how to like invoice. Like that's what I mean about the learning curve. And unless you take a program or really find a lot of different blogs from all over that tell you how to do that, it's kind of hard to learn the ropes because it is very different than a traditional job where you put your work in for 2 weeks and then you get paid. As a contractor, it's just different. You send the contract and you say, here's my terms of how you will be working with me, client. Client signs the contract. Then the client prepays you 50 to 75% upfront, unless it's a long-standing relationship and you feel comfortable with getting paid at the end of every 2 weeks or every month, then you can determine that. You have to send an invoice. You have to tell them, hey, I only get paid via bank transfer because I don't want to pay PayPal fees and I don't want to deal with any of these weird apps that you want me to do. So that's how I get paid. So it's awesome because as a contractor, you get to like really set things up how you want. But the not great thing is, like I said, it's a learning curve, and learning that stuff does take time. And like for me, the reason I put my program together was because I got burnt. Like I had clients not pay me. I had clients, I would do all the work for them, or they would say, yes, I want to get started, and then disappear, and we would never get started. And that learning curve can be hard. And also knowing how to find and apply and acquire clients is different. They're not just posted on job boards that you can go to and apply. You need to have a portfolio. You need to have a very different style resume. You can even pitch just random people, because a lot of people that are influencers, they don't even know that a virtual assistant exists and what they can do for their business. So you have to kind of, there's a learning curve, I think, is probably the biggest part that's hard. But I think once you get started, the only other issue is time management and being self-directed enough to keep yourself organized, because you'll have multiple clients and multiple projects. And once you get going, they just keep referring you more work if you're good, because everybody wants a good VA. So you quickly will be like maxed out, and then it starts to feel kind of like a scramble. So knowing how to have some good systems for yourself and using maybe a project management tool, or really keeping your agenda organized, all that stuff becomes really, really important.
Excellent. So it does sound like if you're completely green to working in the online space, there is a lot to put together. What does your program help us do?
Yeah, so I designed mine to be literally what my clients that I was working with at that time and now to this day are frequently requesting me for. And so the biggest requests that you get are social media content creation, so like an actual post with the captions. I get asked frequently for blog writing. People don't write their own blogs anymore. It's like, you think those bloggers are writing their blogs and they're not. So that's another huge one that's very frequently asked for. PR work, which is sending out pitches to get your client on podcasts or in a news or things like that. Managing somebody's Instagram account and just going on there and doing engagement, but in a very targeted and specific way. Let's see, and then like some Pinterest and some light WordPress stuff, right? So that's the stuff that I was getting asked for all the time. And that's the stuff that I put into the program in the course is skills training, so you can actually know how to do those services and how you can package them in a very client is going to love looking at it kind of a way. And then all the stuff I was talking about with a learning curve of like the contracts, and then for Americans, it's like, what do I do about health insurance if I'm a contractor? And what am I supposed to send somebody if it's not this resume that I made in high school that's not getting any responses? What am I supposed to do? So templates and how to do all of that, how to get paid online, like all the little nuances and things to it, that's in there too. But like I said, I mean, if you're starting from zero and you have nothing to invest to upskill and learn the ropes and get going, then starting with something like transcription or like typing or just like data entry, those kinds of things can be a great way to start. But if you're ready you actually want to make some good money and get going really fast and have community and mentors to help you, then a program like mine can be really helpful to just get you to the next level.
Fantastic. I love that. So how many people have you worked with to bring them through to the VA space?
We've had almost 300 women in our program. And I have a free Facebook group and we post jobs in there as well. Post about 1 to 2 per day during the weekdays. And we email them out too. In that Facebook group, I think we're getting around 7,000. So I've been running the communities and running this stuff for a number of years and just trying to help as many people as we can to get started working online and figure out that, what skills do I have that I can get going with, and what resources do I need to go? Okay, what skills do I not have? And then how can I upskill? And so just trying to offer those kinds of things to people to help them along, because the work from anywhere revolution is happening and people are a little bit stuck with how to join. So I'm always happy to provide resources to help everybody.
Fantastic. So the group sounds like a really good place to be, to get a bit of a taste and a bit of a feel for the VA space. What is that group, Esther?
Yeah, so my website is virtualassistantinternship.com, and there you'll find links to my Facebook group, you'll find links to my free class about how to be a virtual assistant, you'll find links to 90-Day VA, which is the program I was talking about, and you'll find a way to sign up for our weekly email that we send out with all the jobs and all the resources and all that stuff too. So all that can be found on there.
Well, that sounds like a lot of value that you're offering us. I'll put those links as well with this recording. And to wrap it all up today, Esther, what would be your biggest piece of advice to someone who's considering becoming a virtual assistant?
Yeah, so I would just take an inventory of what skills you already have and then what skills you need to learn. And I would actually do that second. The first thing I would do is figure out how you want to be spending your day. Because I have a lot of people come to me and they're like, I have customer service skills. What can I do online? And I was like, wow, let's think about this. I can help you find a remote customer service job, but is that really what you want to be doing? Because I don't think you want to be doing that for another 10 years. So I think the best place to start is really what is the kind of way you want to spend your day and spend your time, not just traveling and seeing the world. Yes, that's awesome. But I would love to write. I would love to help a famous travel blogger run their Instagram. I would love to help someone who runs an online program like Esther run the program. Like how do you want to be spending your time? And start to make a plan to get there. And if it's doing your own thing, like I want to have my own travel blog. Okay, well then what can you do now to start helping you to get there? You can be a virtual assistant for travel bloggers and learn so much your brain will spin and you'll be able to help further yourself along. Or if it's, I really want to be a psychologist, great. Be an assistant for a psychologist. You're going to learn how to run the business part of that, right? Because a degree is only part of it. So figuring out what the big overall picture is so that we can help find you something now that's online that really directly connects to that thing. So that would be my biggest advice. And then you can do a skills assessment and see, okay, what do I have now that I can currently offer? And then what do I actually need to upskill in, or join a program, or learn this, or take a class in that, so that I can be able to get closer to that dream.
Fantastic. You have given us so much wonderful information here, and I'm sure that lots of people are going to want to be joining the group and getting amongst it and just seeing, you know, what it's like to be a virtual assistant. So thank you so much for joining us today, Esther. Enjoy your time in Bali.
Thanks. It was nice to talk with everybody, and I have so much resources and help. I am very passionate about world schooling and passionate about helping men and women work online in the capacity that most aligns with you. So thanks for having me. Hope it helped.
Thank you.